Hello, my beautiful friends. It is an amazing day. Welcome back. We've got a wonderful stream planned ahead. A bunch of documents that we're going to be going through today, many of them from the House Judiciary Committee, going over to Authentic Campaigns, the same organization that we've talked about in the context of Trump's criminal convictions. Remember those 34 felony counts that he was charged with out of Judge Juan Mercan's courtroom? Well, Congress wants to know about the judge's daughter, who was very high up at an organization called Authentic Campaigns. Authentic Campaigns was being paid by Democrats millions of dollars. We know that Authentic Campaigns worked for Kamala Harris and allegedly Joe Biden. And so Congress just has some questions about that, since we know that some of their work involved posting about the Trump prosecution. So in other words, the judge's daughter was working for a Democratic operation, an organization that was supporting Democrats and getting paid by Democrats. And that organization was talking about the very trial that the judge's daughter was working on. We're going to break it down when we talk about it coming up. Then we've also got some new updates on what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, January 13th, July 13th, the real insurrection, not to be confused with January 6th, the near assassination of a presidential candidate, bullet whizzing past his ear because the Secret Service is either complicit or grossly incompetent, but in some way they're responsible for it. So we'll talk about that because the FBI came out and had a media call and had a long conversation with many reporters and journos explaining what has been developing from their investigation. And we're going to read through the prepared remarks. Now, this is, as far as I know, nothing was recorded or published for us to watch or listen to, but we do have their prepared remarks that they published for us to read. So we'll go through those. We'll see what the FBI says, because they are out there allegedly correcting the record, is going to be their statement, saying, well, there's been some bad reporting about those foreign conversations or those foreign accounts. And so they're going to give us some details on it. And they also released some photos of the gun, photos of the backpack, and photos inside the trunk of Thomas Crooks, the shooter. So we'll go and look at those photos and then go through with the FBI briefing and see what they have for us. See if there's some juicy corrections that they'll share with us. Then we have an interesting question. Is Nancy Pelosi leaking video footage from January 6th? Some interesting stuff has been coming out of Nancy Pelosi and HBO. Apparently, they've got a bunch of footage from that day. It's now slowly being revealed. It's like, where was this for the last however long? Now it's coming out. And we're going to ask ourselves the question, is this intentional since we're in the middle of an election season? And can we expect this to continue to leak from HBO and from Nancy Pelosi as the election cycle continues further? In other words, are we going to get hit in the face with a big new video drop sometime in October? I'd count on it. So, as you can see, we've got three good stories that we're going to talk about today, three good segments that we're going to unpack together. Grateful that you're here and with us. Hopefully your week is unfolding beautifully. All downhill from here. Before we jump into it, I want to share with you a new development from Eric's House, ericshouse.org. This is a nonprofit organization that I do some work with because it's a cause near and dear to my heart. And I want to share with you what is cooking over here. So Eric's House now has virtual tours that you can go sign up for. They're totally free, and it's just a way to get familiar with the organization. So I've linked this everywhere you're watching this. First link in the description will take you to this. You can sign up for a tour, a virtual tour, 11 a.m. on September 17th next month, the 19th next month, and September 21st, 10 a.m. or 4 p.m. So some in the morning, some in the afternoon. Now, it's a 1-hour virtual tour. It says here, together, we can reach people who need support after a devastating loss. All right, so if you've lost somebody or know somebody who's lost someone, In this tour, they're going to talk about the epidemics of suicide and substance use loss, like overdose. We'll discuss how, as a community, we can together reach the many people who need our support. So check it out. It's a 1-hour virtual tour promoting caring, connection, and community at Eric's house. Link is in the description down below. So go check that out. Get signed up. Or if you know somebody who's unfortunately going through this, send it their way so that they can sign up as well. All right. It's important work out there. A lot of people are hurting, feeling alone, and there's a whole community at Eric's house who is there to help. So check it out if that rings true to you. All right. So without any further ado, let's get into business, my friends, because we've got an Alvin Bragg update, starting with Judge Merchan. Alvin Bragg's prosecution of Donald Trump is hitting a bit of a snag now that Congress is investigating what's going on with the judge's daughter. It's a complex situation here. We've got the judge's daughter, the judge's daughter's company called Authentic Campaigns, and then there's the CEO of the Authentic Campaigns company, who we're going to learn about, who's all involved in this mess. But the concern is that Authentic Campaigns is an organization that works for Democrats like Kamala Harris and Adam Schiff and does advertisements for them, helps them fundraise, manage their email list, does their Facebook ads, and so on and so forth. Well, if the judge who's presiding over the Trump case, if his daughter is working in that organization and then making posts about Trump being prosecuted by her daddy in order to do work for Democrats who have a lot to gain from daddy imprisoning Trump, that's a conflict of interest. Come on. So Congress has been asking about this, and today things have escalated. We're going to show you what happened and what the company has received from the House Judiciary GOP. So they posted some time ago, we're going to do a little backstory here before we get to today's development, but there's been some letters back and forth. So back on August 16th, Congress sent a letter, you can see, to Mr. Michael Nellis. He's the founder and CEO of Authentic Campaigns. And the judge's daughter, Lauren Merchan, was also a part of this organization. And so a couple weeks ago, now today Congress is like, all right, enough already. We've been waiting around for a couple weeks, as you can see. You haven't given us what we've asked for, and so now we're not playing around anymore. But Congress said, all right, look, question, did Authentic Campaigns service Donald Trump's political adversaries? If yes, whether it's Biden, Kamala, or Shifty Schiff, who got censured, by the way, pathetic, then the owners and people who work at the company can't have relatives serving as judges in cases against Donald Trump, because that's a little bit of a conflict, period. Congress sent that out. Said, hey, Mr. Michael Nellis, we got a question for you there, buddy. You can see this came out from the Judiciary Committee. Jim Jordan is going to be the individual writing this letter. Sign here, chairman of the Judiciary Committee. He sent this back over to Mr. Michael Nellis. Now, Nellis responded to this. We'll take a look. It says, okay, dear Mr. Nellis, Authentic. You know, on August 1st, the Committee on the Judiciary wrote to Lauren Merchan, the judge's daughter, and who happens to be the president of Authentic Campaigns, requesting information and documents to further the committee's oversight of the bias and conflicts of interest that the Manhattan DA's political prosecution of Donald Trump has brought. Now, although you responded on August 13th, you failed to comply with the committee's request and you declined to provide any documents. And so again, we write to reiterate our August 1st request. Now, as we made clear in our August 1st letter, the committee is conducting oversight of politically motivated prosecutions by people like Alvin Bragg and local officials like Tish James and Fannie Willis and the illegal prosecutor, Jack Smith, not even a real boy. In particular, the committee is investigating the impartiality of Judge Juan Merchan due to his apparent, quote, conflict of interest and his biases in the case against President Trump. Now, one such conflict the committee is examining is Miss Merchan, the daughter of the judge, and her work on behalf of President Trump's political adversaries, like Biden, Kamala, Shifty, and the possible financial benefit that Miss Merchan, the daughter, and Authentic Campaigns got from the prosecution and the conviction of President Trump. And if you're just joining us on this story, just catching up here, part of what was happening is Authentic Campaigns and Miss Mercan and Nellis and their organization were managing Facebook campaigns, is what it looked like. And there were advertisements on Schiff's profile run by Authentic Campaign, social media posts. You know how you have to do more posts. You have to engage on social media. You know how it is in your businesses. So they're doing the same thing. And Shifty is posting about Trump being prosecuted. Historic. Trump got arraigned in New York court. 34 charges. Okay. Over and over and over. You know who's writing those, theoretically, arguably, is the judge's daughter or the people she hired. Sitting there, oh, perfect. Hey, what should our ads be? I don't know. What's my dad doing today? Hey, Dad, what's going to happen with Trump? Whatever. Okay, so it's a little too close to comfort. So Daddy is prosecuting Trump or allowing the prosecution of Trump to continue, even though, the legalities of this case are so insane. There's immune conduct in here. They brought in Michael Cohen. They brought in Stormy Daniels. Those were the star witnesses who both have serious credibility problems, not to mention Cohen's a convicted perjurer. So the whole thing was ridiculous. But the point is, the judge is allowing it to happen because it supports the judge's daughter's work. She's making posts about it, getting paid on it. So as such, the committee is seeking to determine whether Authentic Campaign services President Trump's political adversaries. If Authentic Campaigns or any of its employees, agents, or representatives provide services to Trump's political adversaries, and Authentic stands to benefit financially from Trump's criminal trial, it creates at a minimum at least an appearance that the Judge Mercan may take decisions during the trial for improper reasons. It's not about an actual conflict either. Remember, it's about an appearance of impropriety, an appearance of conflict. Now, in response to our third request, you argue that the committee's request for information relating to work and President Trump's indictment, prosecution, and conviction, you said that that information is completely relevant to any information. Now, as an initial matter, it's not the role of Authentic or you to determine what is or what is not relevant to a congressional investigation. You don't get to dictate that to us. The Supreme Court has recognized that Congress has broad power. We're allowed to investigate this. In fact, just last year, District Attorney Alvin Bragg made a similar argument when trying to block the enforcement of our subpoena. Now, that judge in that matter, Judge Mary Kay Vickesil, agreed with us, the committee, when denying Alvin Bragg a temporary restraining order and enjoining the enforcement of the committee's subpoena. Holding the committee's subpoena was issued with a valid legislative purpose. We can do what we want. We're Congress, in connection with our broad and indispensable powers. And so the committee, the judge said, identified several valid reasons for the subpoena for Alvin Bragg. And those purposes included the possibility of legislative reforms. That's what we're doing here too. Now, while you claim, Mr. Authentic, that Authentic is not compensated based on how much its clients fundraise, which I don't know why that's relevant, a business bottom line is impacted by its client's satisfaction with its services and its client's ultimate success. Or to put it another way, the more money that Authentic fundraises and the more they win elections, the better off they are in the future, clearly. So thus, to the extent that the Judge Mercan ruling would increase the success of their clients' fundraising efforts, it's going to contribute to them winning. Also, your letter's focus on the outcome of the trial is unduly narrow because Judge Mercan's rulings also ensured that there would be a trial in the first place. So in response to our fourth request, you argue that any communication with Ms. Mercan, who's currently a minority partner at Authentic, had with her father would have been in her personal capacity and unrelated to their clients. Now, your response there, Mr. Authentic, seems to imply that Ms. Mercan may be privy to non-information about Judge Mercan's thinking and decision-making during the prosecution of Trump, and it also implies that such records exist and are in your possession. And so even if the judge's daughter obtained such information in her personal capacity, there's simply no real way she could keep this information separate from her work with her clients who also want to stop Trump. Now, further, if these communications between Mercan and the daughter and the judge exist, even if the communications were in her personal capacity, if they're in your possession, they're responsive to our committee. So we don't care if she didn't, if she's on her company email talking about this stuff. We don't care if that's like outside of her job description. It's in your email server, so give it to us. As we already highlighted, 2 of Authentic campaign clients who raised $93 million referenced the Trump indictments and the pending criminal trial before Judge Merchan in fundraising stuff. At a minimum, there is at least a perception that the judge's daughter and Authentic have profited and will continue to profit from Trump's prosecution that's overseen by her daddy. Now, accordingly, we reiterate our requests. Give it to us no later than August 23rd. And obviously that did not happen. So you can see this is what Authentic said. And this, I believe, is in response to the first letter, right? So we just read what Jim Jordan was he's responding to this, which was basically, I write in response to your first letter. It's unfortunate the committee is villainizing the judge's daughter solely because her daddy's the judge, finding Trump guilty, saying that this is severely misleading the public. Authentic had no role, involvement, or influence whatsoever in those judicial proceedings. Okay. And the committee's insinuations, okay, we're actually saying that the judge should recuse himself because he's got a conflict. Now, because of the daughter working at your company. First, for the period of January 1, 2023 to the present, Authentic has not had a contract to perform any services for the Harris for President, Biden for Harris, or the DNC. Okay, so it's very sneaky. Not had a contract to perform any services. Okay, are you performing services? Can you just say that? Like, why do you have to put that word in there? From January 1st, 2023, Authentic has done no work for Kamala Harris for president. How about you just say that? You can't. So they said has not had a contract to perform any services. Has there been any exchange of money? I don't know. It's just sneaky language. Now, Authentic performed digital marketing work for the Biden campaign in 2020 and the Harris campaign in 2019, which is well documented and supported by the FEC. But that is the extent of the work that Authentic has done for the entities named in your letter, right? So that's now we kind of say, well, there's no other work. A simple search of the same FEC database shows there's no business relationship between Authentic and any of the listed entities during that time period. Okay, so what about other, PACs and stuff like that? Anyways, you get the point. It's just very sneaky. No, you asked specifically about this stuff. There's no relationship, so leave us alone. Second, there are no communications between Authentic and any employees or representatives of Biden for president or Harris for president about the indictment, prosecution, or conviction. And you should know that Miss Merchan, the judge's daughter, was also a minority partner at Authentic and was not a partner during the Harris campaign in 2019. I was the primary point of contact. Miss Merchan, the judge's daughter, like many others, met and interacted with the candidate on occasion. So the judge's daughter met with Kamala, but they never developed an individual relationship. So now we know the judge's daughter was chilling with Kamala. Now, moreover, Ms. Merchan has not been personally managing programs for any of our clients during this cycle and has minimal input anyways. And so accordingly, the judge's daughter has never been personally involved in or even made aware of any specific client work that mentioned the trial of Trump in any way. Now, in response to your third request, any documents, so you should have no problem then, any documents and communications relating to communications that they may have sent related to Trump's indictment, prosecution to the present are completely irrelevant to the investigation, however unfounded. So nobody talked about it at all. But even if there were, it's completely irrelevant. And you may be, any investigation, however unfounded, you may be undertaking of politically motivated prosecutions. Authentic has an obligation to share content based on relevant current events and statements. And that means in the handful of instances when content related to Trump was released on behalf of Authentic's clients, from that time to the present, it would have been shared regardless of the outcome of the trial. So it's just like we just talk about the news. It has nothing to do specifically with Trump or the judge's daughter's daddy, her father, prosecuting this. It's just, we're talking about Trump being indicted. So content that was related to Trump was an extremely small amount, just a small sliver of all the other stuff we posted, just like a couple posts. And Mercan, the judge's daughter, had no involvement whatsoever in any client that may have mentioned Trump's indictment, prosecution, or conviction. So it's misleading to suggest that all funds raised by a candidate could be raised from this small amount of content. It's just not true. So you can't say things like a judge's daughter raised tens of millions of dollars based on a case before her father. Those claims are just false because you can't prove that even those posts created 100 million. Neither Authentic nor Ms. Mercan benefits from any of the rulings. Yeah, right. If Trump's the president, your clients lose, right? And you guys failed to deliver. So they're out of power. Authentic is not compensated based on how much its clients fundraise. Yeah, we don't think you get a percentage of it or something. Additionally, the dollar amounts cited in your letter do not reflect Authentic's profits. Authentic pays advertisers on behalf of our clients, which is customary. And in your fourth response, neither Authentic nor any employee had any communications with Judge Mercan. We weren't specifically talking to him. And any communication that the judge's daughter had with her father about the trial would have been in her personal capacity, and you don't get access to this. And finally, it's concerning, he says, that Republican members of this committee are using valuable time and taxpayer dollars. You mean like this trial? This whole trial was a sham. This is a disgraceful misuse of power and a disservice to the American people. Yeah, so are corrupt trials. But since these unfounded allegations surface, Lauren Mercan and I have faced death threats, which I condemn totally. And by the way, they're already illegal, so hopefully those people are being investigated. I'm sure the FBI's on this one. And suffered reputational damage. Well, reputation, I mean, people have questions about a conflict, which is a valid conflict. Congress is investigating it, so there's a lot of people who are upset about it. Members of our families have been harassed. Again, illegal. It's all illegal already, so we don't want that to happen at all. In some cases, threats were discovered or deemed credible by law enforcement, which required intervention. Good, that's why they're there. Lauren and her family have been advised by law enforcement and that her personal information was shared by MAGA supporters. There have been instances when our employees were targeted, and Ms. Mercan's LinkedIn was made private. Now, the manipulation and the misrepresentation of cherry-picked information included throughout your letter is harming innocent people, Jim Jordan. And it's setting a dangerous precedent for members of Congress to use your power. Woo, man, this guy's giving it to Jim Jordan right now. To intimidate and to execute politically motivated attacks on private citizens. These people are just the worst. It's like, dude, your business partner, Lauren, her dad is allowing a sham prosecution against Trump to continue with convicted perjurer Cohen. Anyways, he's really upset about politically motivated attacks on private citizens. When he's on the receiving end of a little scrutiny, got it. Now, at a hearing in June, a representative, Jeff Van Drew, spoke about the need to be unbiased during investigations. Right now, the committee is abusing its power for partisan ambition and doing so at the expense of the safety of private American citizens. Sincerely, Mike Nellis. He's the founder of Authentic Campaigns. And to be clear on who this fella is, this is what he looks like, and this is his X profile. He's a former senior advisor to Kamala Harris, right? So he runs this company. The judge's daughter works at the company. Is a partner now. He's the founder of Authentic, and he's also the organizer for White Dudes for Harris, okay? White Dudes for Harris. That's him right there. All right. So, yeah, anyways. So he is the person who's behind this, and so that was his letter back. Now, Congress got that letter, and they're not real happy about it. So Congress dropped this. The Judiciary GOP Committee posted this one fresh out of the oven, says, subpoenaed! Says, Mr. Michael Nellis, we don't appreciate your tone. They sent this one back over to him. August 28th, from Congress to Mr. Michael Nellis, aka Mr. White Dude for Harris, founder of Authentic Campaigns, says, all right, Mr. Nellis, to be crystal clear on this, on August 1st, we wrote to Lauren Mercon, the president of Authentic, requesting information about the political prosecution of Trump. You responded, declining to comply voluntarily with our oversight. We sent you another letter. On August 16th, we wrote again to address your concerns and to reiterate our requests. Then you declined again to comply with the committee's oversight and requests. And so you have left our committee with no choice but to resort to compulsory process. Now, as we made clear in our August 1st and August 16th letters, the committee is continuing to conduct oversight of politically motivated prosecutions by Alvin, Bragg, Big Fanny, Tish James, Jack Smith. Popularly elected prosecutors like Bragg have engaged in an unprecedented abuse of authority by prosecuting a former president of the United States and a current nominee for that office. Now, of relevance to the committee's oversight is the impartiality of the judge, acting judge Juan Mercon. The presiding trial judge, due to his refusal to recuse himself from the case in light of his apparent conflicts of interest and his multiple biases. You see all these letters we sent? Yeah, remember those? Hopefully you have them saved. One such conflict is Lauren Mercon, the judge's daughter. She's the president of your organization. The work that she did on behalf of Trump's adversaries and the benefit that she got financially to her and to your company that are also received from Trump's prosecution and conviction. Saying, all right, Mr. White Dude for Harris says, public reporting makes clear that both you and Ms. Mercon have been closely involved in the presidential campaigns of both Biden and Harris. Lauren, the judge's daughter, previously served in then presidential candidate Harris's campaign in 2019 while she was at your company, Authentic. During her employment for Harris, Authentic got over $7 million in compensation for its services. You also worked for then presidential candidate Harris, and it appears you continue to do so as a white dude for Harris. Authentic Campaigns conducted work for 2020 Biden-Harris, and according to public records, you guys got paid $2 million in just 1 month for its work. Man, that's interesting. And the judge's daughter is obviously getting a cut of that, right? A portion of that, since she works there. So she's getting paid from that income. Now, in your August 13th response to the committee, you indicated that responsive records existed for at least 2 of our requests, but later in your next letter, you suggest that records only exist for a single request. So which is it? Regarding this request, you attempt to evade our oversight by saying that the committee's request for this work as it relates to the indictment, you said it's irrelevant to any investigation. Now, you also argue that any content related to the trial was an extremely small amount. But guess what there? You don't get to make that determination. And in any event, the committee has already explained the relevancy of these records to our oversight. And the quantity of the responsive documents, even if it's small, does not create an exception to our request. Neither does your assertion that the judge's daughter had no involvement in any such content. Our investigation is not limited to the judge's daughter alone. Rather, as has already been explained to you, the committee is investigating whether Authentic provides services to Trump's political adversaries. And as such, your rationales for refusing to give us the documents are unpersuasive. Now, in response to the committee's other request, you also argued in your August 13th response that any communication that the judge's daughter may have had with her father about the trial would have been in her personal capacity, and that they're entirely unrelated to Authentic or to its clients. You then asserted in your next letter that Authentic has no responsive documents or communications at all. So which is it? This shifting representation raises significant doubt about the accuracy of your assertions. You're not lying to Congress, are you? Your first statement on August 13th about the nature of the communications of Mercan, the judge's daughter, and the judge suggests at least some knowledge about those records, such that you could attest that they were all made in her personal capacity. Now, notably, in this initial response, you did not assert that Authentic Campaigns possessed no responsive records, and then your next subsequent blanket assertion in August that no records exist, made without explaining your basis for that statement, viewed in light of your prior statement, suggests, sir, that you may be artificially narrowing the committee's request to only records of a non-personal nature. But our request doesn't make that distinction. If Mercan used your accounts, if the judge's daughter used your email or used a company iPhone or used any other electronic communication systems to communicate with her daddy about Trump's trial, even if the communications were made in her personal capacity, that's what we're looking for. Those records are responsive to our request. And so you also said in your response to us, you argue that the committee does not have a valid legislative purpose, that the committee doesn't have any legitimate reason to conduct its inquiry. That would have been nice if that was a good excuse. We could have told that to Liz Cheney. But as we have explained twice, the Supreme Court has recognized that Congress has broad power. We can oversee a lot of this. It encompasses inquiries. We can look at existing laws, and we can look at a lot of stuff. Now, early last year, a federal judge denied Alvin Bragg's attempt to stop us in this same vein. She said, the judge, that Jordan has several valid legislative purposes, including legislative reforms to insulate current and former presidents from state prosecutions. They could remove criminal cases from state courts to federal courts by changing the statutes. Congress could investigate this reform and they could pass it. And they could literally stop local prosecutors from interfering with potential federal elections. And so we've explained this. We've explained these proposed reforms and already told you about this. Now, Judge Mercan's conflict of interest and his biases in this case against Trump, the Republican nominee in the upcoming election, implicate serious federal interests. Congress has a specific and manifestly important interest in preventing politically motivated prosecutions of current and former presidents, especially in venues in which real or perceived biases exist. And among other things, if state or local prosecutors like Bragg and Fannie are able to engage in politically motivated prosecutions of presidents of the United States for personal acts, that could have a profound impact on how presidents exercise their duties while in office. And so the material that we've requested from you will inform our House and how we consider to move forward with this legislation. And we're going to decide whether we should remove these cases to federal court. If such a mechanism were in place at the time of Bragg's prosecution, Mercan would never have presided over this trial. And so the committee is charged with upholding American civil liberties. Rule 10 says we have broad powers to investigate this stuff. The records from your company are relevant to our oversight work. These documents will allow the committee to better understand these conflicts and these biases that were used against Trump. Now, accordingly, in light of your failure to comply with our earlier voluntary requests, please find attached a subpoena compelling the production of the requested documents. Now, as an accommodation, we've narrowed the scope of this subpoena to 2 of our initial requests. And to ensure accuracy and completeness, and based upon the noted inconsistencies of your prior responses, we direct your attention to instruction number 19 in the enclosed subpoena schedule requiring a certification of your efforts to send us responsive materials. If Authentic Campaigns indeed has no responsive records for the other request, as you have asserted, then you can swear that under penalty of perjury on that form. You can say, we made a reasonable, diligent, good faith search for these documents. And we also ask you to detail how you conducted the search. What email accounts did you use? What text message numbers did you look to? What other means of communication did you review? And finally, we request that you certify under penalty of perjury that the attestations, the statements you made in your August 13th and 23 letters are completely true and accurate. So please confirm that for us. If you have any questions about this matter, please contact our committee staff. Sincerely, your friend, Jim Jordan, Chairman, House Judiciary Committee. And so, as we mentioned, Mike Nellis, white dude for Harris, seen here in this photograph, has responded to this, and he has articulated that they are going to be fighting this. They say in this post that I think I moved away from, he said this: breaking. We have just received a subpoena from Jim Jordan and the Republican Judiciary Committee. He calls it an abuse of power aimed at promoting a baseless right-wing conspiracy that links Authentic to Donald Trump's fraud trial. Well, it's through the judge's daughter, who's with Authentic. We're reviewing the subpoena with our legal team, and we'll have more information. Let us be clear. These allegations against our company are completely false and purely politically motivated. This is a blatant attempt to intimidate us and divert attention from Trump's conviction, which is illegitimate. We refuse to be bullied, will not allow House Republicans or MAGA extremists to spread lies about our work. We remain steadfast in our mission. We're deeply grateful for the unwavering support of our friends and family during this time. All right, it's really, I know, really tragic. All right, so here's what the subpoena looks like. So Schedule A of the subpoena is there. This is what the subpoena looks like from Congress to Mike Nellis, founder of Authentic Campaigns. Says, you are hereby commanded by authority of the House of Representatives of the Congress of the United States of America to produce the items identified in the attached schedule to our office by September 13th at 9 a.m. at the Judiciary Committee House office. Signed by Jim Jordan. Now, here's what they're demanding. Saying, in accordance with the attached schedule, you, Michael Nellis, white dude for Harris, founder of Authentic, are required to produce the following items in your possession, custody, or control in unredacted form. All documents and communications referring or relating to any work performed by Authentic that refers to the indictment, prosecution, or conviction of Trump from April 1, 2023 to the present. And we're excited about that. All documents and communications between or among Authentic Campaigns or any of its employees, agents, or representatives and Judge Juan Merchan or any of his employees, right? Any of people from his office, his staff, his judicial bench that refer to Trump, we want to know about. So send us those materials by September. We'll see what Authentic Campaigns says in response or whether these documents are delivered with haste. Now, we know that Trump has been the victim of multiple political prosecutions. He's not been alone in this. We've heard RFK Jr. come out, confirm the same, saying they're spending $10 million is what he said when he talked to Tucker about this, trying to defend themselves to stay on the ballot. Jill Stein, same thing. Democrats are just cheaters. The Democratic Party is a cheating party. They can't win on ideas, so they just sue people to get them off the ballots, and they almost threw Trump off the ballot. Speaker Johnson was out saying, Donald Trump continues to be the most persecuted politician in the history of our country. Today, after getting two of his cases thrown out by the courts, Jack Smith is grasping at straws once again. We covered this entire re-indictment yesterday. Just 70 days before the election, Smith has brought yet another bogus indictment. Americans are sick of this corruption and this shameless lawfare. They know this is not about justice. It's about politics. Saying Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have set a dangerous, destructive precedent by weaponizing the DOJ and using it to prosecute their political opponents, and then enabling these local prosecutors to do the same. The American people will not let this stand. November 5th cannot arrive soon enough from Speaker Mike Johnson. Now, Trump was also responding to this, and he's getting a lot more active on the X platform. He said, it is the DOJ policy that the DOJ should not take any action that will influence an election within 60 days of that election. Remember that? Because they told us that's why they couldn't do anything against Joe Biden or Hunter Biden. But they just have taken that action. In fact, Jack Smith is trying to accelerate this process so he can prosecute Trump before the election. Trump says, voting starts on September 6th. Therefore, the DOJ has violated its own policy. Election interference. All of these Comrade Kamala Biden hoaxes should be dismissed immediately. And Trump is exactly right about that. And you see the timing is also very curious. It's to accelerate the trial, but also to create a political narrative that Trump's been indicted again. And so we've got reaction to this. Nicole Shanahan, now on the Trump train, RFK Jr.'s VP nom, said this, I'll admit, she says, I'll admit, I used to kind of roll my eyes when people claimed that President Trump was being persecuted. Used to roll her eyes at us. That's us. We've been saying that for years. But she says, and we appreciate her now acknowledging this, I was looking at it through the distorted filter of the media. Well, I just completed my first cross-examination in our second New York ballot access case, where the DNC-aligned PAC attorneys questioned me like I'm a criminal. Nicole Shanahan, for just trying to get on a ballot, just trying to get on the ballot. She says, okay, I get it now. Our justice system is clearly being co-opted and abused by nefarious people with malevolent political agendas. Whew, that's a spicy one right there. Thank you, Nicole Shanahan, for admitting it. I'll admit, I used to be on the other side. Yes, we're grateful to have you. Come over. Tell your friends. You are. Thank you. It's absolutely true. And everybody else has not had a voice or the capability to withstand it. Trump, fortunately, has the majority of America, in my opinion, at his back and been able to weather it, right? Even the Kennedys and Nicole Shanahan and these people are explaining it's like a bloodbath out there. These people are brutal and they're just trying to get on the election ballot. That's it. Can we just put our name on there? Gosh. No, you can't. This is America. We have to save democracy. So you cannot be allowed to be voted up on. It's lunacy. Now, Jill Stein is confirming this as well. We saw this over from Johnny MAGA and End Tribalism in Politics. Shared this one from Jill Stein. Again, confirming the same thing that Trump has been saying. The Democrats are cheaters. They have terrible ideas, terrible policies. They're terrible people. And the party's a wreck. They love abortion, war, and removing genitals. And this is what Jill Stein has to say about it.
And so, it's been 8 years since 2016.
Yes.
I think the Democrats were really fearful of what, your campaign did in 2016. Do you think they fear you now in 2024?
Well, they announced back in March that they were hiring an army of lawyers in order to throw people like me off the ballot, which they have been trying to do. We are locked in a legal battle with them in many places around the country. Then they went on to actually do a job posting, at least one that we discovered, there were probably more, a job posting for someone to manage infiltrators and spies in order to mess up our ballot drives and our organization. And then the Democratic treasurer, presumably under party instructions, refused to appropriate our public funding. So we had qualified for several $100,000 in public funding. And this was due at least a month ago, maybe 6 weeks, and was really critical for our drives to get on the ballot. They have been holding on to that money. And for reasons that really don't hold water, that I won't bore you with, they're rather technical, but it appears to be a clear act of political sabotage going on within the Democratic administration. So yes, I think they are very afraid because the issues that we are talking about and the solutions that we're offering, healthcare is a human right for everyone through a Medicare for All system, which covers everybody comprehensively and reduces the cost by $500 billion a year. So we save money at the same time that we give everybody health care. People really want that, and that would save us a whole lot of money by cutting red tape and bureaucracy. People want affordable housing, and we have policies to ensure that we get that.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the Democrats don't want the voters to have the choice. They don't want them to be able to choose between your policies and the DNC's policies, because if they give people that choice, well, they might lose, and they can't ever allow that. So whatever it takes, they will try to throw people off the ballots. They did it to Trump at the national level. They're doing it to RFK, Nicole Shanahan. They did it to Jill Stein. So now more people are starting to realize Trump is not the boy who cried wolf. There actually is a wolf. It's the Democratic Party, and people are realizing who they are. Disgusting cheaters. All right. So let's carry on. Now, we are going to talk about the FBI. This one is pretty interesting as well because we got some new stuff on J13. The FBI released some new photos from J13. You see, we have the weapon and the backpack on the FBI.gov official press release page. We're going to talk through what they discussed with the media. You see, here was also the inside of Crooks, the shooter's vehicle, inside the trunk where there were the 2 IED devices, which apparently were just turned off. There was a full meeting today. Nothing that we've seen publicly available, but the FBI was having a conversation with the media. There was an opening statement provided to the media, and there was an entire transcript, as you can see here, that was provided about this media call. So August 28th, Kevin P. Rojek, special agent in charge of FBI Pittsburgh field office from the FBI, is now dropping these remarks as prepared for delivery. And then there was some Q&A after this event, and the media was there. So we've got CNN who's going to bring us up to speed on what some of the questions sounded like. So we're going to go through this and read through exactly what was happening on this call as these prepared remarks detail the events. But here was the opening statement that came out on this day. So apparently this is what Robert Wells read to the media. He came out and he said, "Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Wells, and I am the Executive Assistant Director of the FBI's National Security Branch. I believe this is our third call with the media since the attack, and as you have heard me say before, the FBI remains steadfast in investigating the details surrounding the attempted assassination of former President Trump. Now, this extraordinarily tragic set of circumstances is of national importance, and we are determined to ensure the facts of the case are appropriately shared with Congress, the media, and the American people. And our goal throughout this process has been and continues to be transparency, which is why we have agreed to proactively share new information as it comes to light. We have also been cooperative with the bipartisan congressional task force and the ongoing independent reviews of the attack, and we're committed to working closely with each of these teams and being as transparent as possible." Before we get into the details of the investigation, he says, "I would be remiss if I did not highlight the incredible work of the agents, the analysts, professional field staff, everywhere, whether it was covering down a lead, analyzing countless points of data, or providing victim services. We are just amazing." Now, there is no stone unturned in this investigation. Now, at this time, the FBI has not identified a motive, nor any co-conspirators or associates of crooks with advanced knowledge of the attack. And I want to be clear, we have not seen any indication to suggest Crooks was directed by a foreign entity to conduct an attack. As always, this FBI guy says, "We will continue to follow all logical investigative steps in this ongoing investigation and have not ruled anything out at this time. Now, I will now turn it over to Pittsburgh Field Office Special Agent in Charge Kevin Rojic. He will provide the latest investigative update and the various steps the FBI has taken thus far to conduct a thorough and fulsome investigation into the J13 attack. Now, thank you, and I look forward to answering your questions. Kevin? So then Kevin comes out, and he's like, all right, guess I got to explain all this. He says, thank you, EAD Wells, which is Executive Assistant Director. Thank you, EAD Wells. He says, my name is Kevin Rojic, and I'm the Special Assistant in charge of the FBI Pittsburgh Field Office. They have an accent out there? I can't do it. Says the Pittsburgh office continues to lead the investigation into the attempted assassination of Trump through the tireless efforts of our FBI agents, our intelligence analysts, and our professional staff and employees. Says we've also gotten assistance from FBI field offices and headquarters. And I want to acknowledge our awesome work with Pennsylvania State Police and the U.S. attorneys at the DOJ. He says, let's talk about motive and co-conspirators. He says, since July 13th, we have worked diligently towards two goals. We're trying to identify the subject's motive for the attempted assassination and to determine whether he worked with any co-conspirators or conducted this attack alone. Now, regarding motive, this agent says, extensive analysis of the subject's online search history, so your Google search bar, as well as his specific online activity has provided us valuable insight into his mindset, but not a definitive motive. Now, regarding co-conspirators, to date, we have not uncovered any credible evidence indicating the subject conspired with anyone else. So, valuable insight into his mindset. And I wonder about this stuff. It's like, well, if he was searching, if he was a violent MAGA extremist, you think we would have probably known about that by now? If he was like a right-winger who listened to Alex Jones or whatever, think that would have leaked already? Probably. But regarding other co-conspirators, we have not uncovered any credible evidence indicating the subject conspired with anyone else. It's just like that manifesto, right, that we never got from that other incident. If it hurts their narrative, we don't see it. But if it supports their narrative, like if it's a white male Christian shooter or whatever it is, oh, ban guns. You know what I'm saying? It's always used for something. Now, so they know what his online search activity looks like, and that usually tells you a lot about a person. But during the last few weeks, says this FBI agent, he says, the FBI has received numerous requests to support external investigations associated with the attempted assassination, including there's an independent review panel that's being formed by Alejandro Mayorkas at Homeland, which is just going to be terrible, the Office of the Inspector General there, as well as a bipartisan congressional task force. Now, as Wells, the first guy, stated, the FBI remains committed to our transparency. Now, I want to talk about the scope of the investigation. Regarding the scope, first, I want to remind the public that the FBI is responsible for investigating the actions of the subject. It's not the FBI's role to investigate the actions or the security posture or the responsibilities of the Secret Service or local law enforcement related to the campaign rally. Yeah, so if there was a criminal hiding in the Secret Service, who's looking at them? Who's going to review that? Who knows? Maybe nobody, or maybe the Secret Service will do it. Ronald Rowe will investigate it himself. FBI, are they considering maybe there was a criminal component with the Secret Service or local law enforcement? To date, we've conducted nearly 1,000 interviews. We've served numerous search warrants. We've issued dozens of subpoenas. We've analyzed hundreds of hours of video footage. Now, the FBI continues to follow up on all potential leads in order to refine the timeline of events leading up to the attempted assassination. We also remain in contact with the subject's family members, who have been extremely cooperative with our investigation. Now, about this online stuff. Regarding the subject's online activity, analysis of searches conducted between 2019 and 2024 provided extensive insight into the subject's mindset. and specific research he conducted in preparation for the attack. In late September 2023, just about a year ago, an account connected to the subject was used to search the former president's campaign schedule and upcoming appearances in Pennsylvania, all the way a year ago. Then from April of 2024 through July 12th, one day before the attack, the subject searched campaign events for both President Trump and President Biden, including events scheduled to take place in western Pennsylvania, where it's close by. Specifically, on July 4th, the subject searched for details of the former president's campaign event in Butler. On July 6th, the subject registered to attend the rally, and that same day, he specifically searched for these queries. Quote, how far was Oswald from Kennedy? Where will Trump speak from at the Butler Farm Show? Butler Farm Show podium. Butler Farm Show photos. On July 8th, the subject searched AGR International. On July 9th, he searched ballistic calculator. On July 10th, he searched weather in Butler. Now, in the 30 days prior to the attack, the FBI is reporting, telling us, the subject conducted more than 60 searches related to President Biden and former President Trump. Of particular note, our investigation identified specific searches conducted on July 5th to include when is the DNC convention and when is the RNC in 2024. Next, regarding the two improvised explosive devices located in the shooter's vehicle, as well as the device found in his bedroom, the subject, Crooks, conducted multiple searches pertaining to explosive devices as early as September 2019, continuing through the summer. These searches specifically included these queries, quote, detonating cord, blasting cap, how to make a boom boom from fertilizer, how do remote detonators work? Try not to flag the FBI on our AI monitoring. The subject also searched for ammonium nitrate, nitromethane, and other materials consistent with the manufacturing of explosive devices. Now, continuing on the topic of the explosive devices located in the vehicle, the FBI's lab determined the components used by the subject were legal to purchase and readily available online. Now, additionally, regarding the subject's rifle, the FBI Laboratory Division successfully test-fired the weapon, concluding it was and remains fully operational. That's curious because that goes against Clay Higgins' report. Remember, Clay Higgins' report said that he thought that there was 2 shots on the shooter. One actually hit the gun and kind of exploded the gun, and then the other killed him. But apparently the gun is fully operational. Now, they also positively matched all 8 shell casings located on the roof with the subject's rifle. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to clarify some information and correct the record. There was incorrect reporting, so the FBI wants to clarify this. He says, first, regarding the subject's use of overseas encrypted email accounts. Now, we understand these accounts were encrypted. However, the level of encryption was no more sophisticated than any standard widely used internet-based email service. And so we don't, we have a backdoor to all of it, so no problem. We successfully accessed the information from these accounts, and we appropriately analyzed their content. However, we continued to identify and exploit the subject's accounts. So they're not going to tell us what those messages were. Okay. Now, also, I want to talk about the crime scene. Second, regarding the release of the crime scene, remember we saw the photos of the FBI up there with that hose up there spraying off all the blood. A lot of people were commenting, is the FBI usually hosing off brain matter from crime scenes? They say, yeah, about the release. The FBI did release the crime scene at the Butler Farm Grounds, as well as the AGR complex, to the property owners in a timely fashion. In fact, we released these sites on a rolling basis, but only after completing a thorough processing of each location, exhausting all efforts to collect any items of evidentiary value. Prior to releasing each site, we followed all appropriate evidence gathering procedures and completed the final release of the scene 7 days after the attack. Because they did it pretty quickly too, right? Congress couldn't even get out there to review this. Remember, Crooks's body has already been cremated. Already, it's gone. Body's gone. They torched that puppy 10 days after this event. Insanely fast. Okay, even if you want to come back and get some more toxicology samples or something, I want to have somebody else come take a sample. I want somebody else to come pull that sample. I don't trust where that sample came from. We're going to have our expert come in, pull it, so we know the chain of custody came from that body over to his lab from this independent expert. No, sorry. Torched. Body's gone. They did the same thing with the crime scene. We released them very quickly, 7 days after the attack. Prior to releasing each site, we completed the final release of the scene 7 days after the attack. So Congress can't even come over and check it out, right? The task force, you're done. Unless you were there within 7 days, it's over. All sprayed off, gone. Crime scene gone. I mean, they keep crime scenes open in movies longer than that, Can we go visit the crime scene? Yeah, let's go check it out. It's been a month. Now, third, regarding the cleaning of the AGR roof, the FBI followed established evidentiary policies and procedures for the return of the crime scenes to the property owner. That included cleaning the biological material from the AGR roof. That's why we had to give that guy that hose. And I don't know who that dude was. He must have been like the FBI's gymnast or something, because he was up on that roof standing there he didn't even die, we think. I don't know. That roof was pretty sloped though. But he was up there. Actually, he was from the FBI. I think it's the Secret Service who can't balance themselves up there. It's very complicated. Who's capable and what agencies. But anyways, that guy's up on the roof. They give him a pressure hose. Get rid of it. Yeah, get rid of that brain matter. No, get some of that too. Get that over there. Hose that off. Only after ensuring we collected all relevant evidence that they say is relevant. And we'll see what the task force says. Now, I want to talk about the release of the subject's body that's been torched now. According to Clay Higgins, says, I would now like to clarify the process undertaken to release the subject's body to his family, who then fried it. After rendering the scene safe and following our established evidence gathering procedures, which are, terrible, the FBI contacted the Butler County Coroner's Office. Subsequently, the coroner removed the body from the scene and conducted a death investigation. The Butler County Coroner's Office then deferred to have the Allegheny County Office of the Medical Examiner conduct the autopsy. So Butler County deferred, probably bullied out to Allegheny. Once Allegheny completed the autopsy, separate county, the Butler County Coroner's Office consulted with the FBI, asking if there were any additional necessary investigative steps with respect to the body. Okay, so local coroner reviews it. That does their analysis. The FBI and the Pennsylvania State Police then concurred with the Butler County Coroner's Office decision to release the remains to the subject's family. So it's crazy. So they just have one county coroner look at it. One county coroner comes in, does the autopsy. Well, it's pretty simple here. Anything else? Nope, looks like his head got blown off, so that's pretty good. Anything else we need to do? Nope. Perfect. Release him to the family. No one can come in and just even get a second opinion, a second look. Congress can't come in and take a look at the body to make sure it's actually what they say it is, right? Body's gone. So FBI, Pennsylvania State Police, FBI saying, they all concurred with us, right? And you see how this goes. FBI comes in. Do you concur? They're like, what? You concur with us, right? Yeah, sure. And then they release the body to the subject's family. He says, I want to stress that it is not standard procedure or practice for the FBI or any law enforcement agency to request that the coroner or medical examiner maintain indefinite custody of a deceased subject's body once the investigative purposes of our agency or our partner agencies are completed. This is such a joke, okay? No one's asking you to maintain indefinite custody, like forever. But there are things called legal holds and forensic holds. What if there is a co-defendant and somebody says, well, I want to go make the claim, or, let's say the parents get charged. right? The parents get charged and they want to say, well, hey, hold on a minute. We think our son was insane or he was on drugs or something, right? We don't know. Ethan Crumbley, remember, they charged his parents and convicted his parents. Ethan Crumbley went crazy or was just a disturbed kid, shot up a school. Parents got charged and convicted. What if the parents had a defense that said Ethan Crumbley's crazy or Ethan Crumbley's, we didn't follow that case here, but something similar. Parents say he's on drugs. I want to go examine Crooks's body. He was high on methamphetamines and something else that day, right? Somebody gave him something or whatever, so we're not responsible for it. Can they go have their independent person go and draw some blood and take a sample from that body? No, it's torched. So we have legal holds and forensic holds all the time, and the body was gone in 10 days. And you know what was so interesting about this is the body was fried the same day that, apparently the same day, according to Clay Higgins, that Congress formed the task force. Congress forms the task force, body is gone. It's ridiculous. Now, I would like to also mention the FBI is now in possession of the subject's autopsy and toxicology reports. Right. From them, right? From their samples, nobody can independently corroborate any of this. For example, when they take blood out of you for a DUI, they'll take out 2 vials, right? One for the defense, one for the government, because the defense doesn't trust the government's testing and their results. The autopsy report indicated the subject was pronounced dead at 6:25 as a result of a single gunshot wound to the head. All reviewable evidence collected from AGR roof and from the body are consistent with the round fired by the Secret Service sniper. Additionally, the toxicology report revealed negative results, quote, for alcohol and drugs of abuse. For alcohol and drugs of abuse. Negative. So what they test for? The standard recreational drugs? What if you want to come back in and take another sample and do a deep dive on some generically abused drug like an antipsychotic or something like that? Did they look for those? Because it's not the same test. Now, next, regarding questions surrounding the release of first responders from the shooting scene, the night of July 13th. They say, well, why did you send everybody home? Well, we had no reason or intention to hold or detain any first responder, as law enforcement community assembled in Butler was actively responding to public safety risks and assisting with investigative activity throughout the night. Now, the FBI appreciates the monumental local law enforcement response that lasted hours after the attack and continues to this day. The Secret Service didn't appreciate them, though. Actually, he blamed them for this whole thing. Our priorities that night, as shared by local law enforcement, were to secure the scene, to preserve the evidence, and to ensure public safety. So local cops, get out of here. Now, as previously reported, the FBI and the Pennsylvania State Police conducted a standard victim interview of former President Trump. During this productive interview, agents took the time to provide the former president with an in-depth briefing on the investigation and answered his questions regarding the attempt on his life. We're grateful to the former President Trump for his cooperation and his time. Now, I will now provide an update to the timeline associated with the subject's actions prior to the shooting. FBI agent continues from today's media update. He says prior witness interviews indicated the subject was in the area of the AGR building at 4:26 p.m. Subsequent digital evidence review shows Crooks was in fact near the Farm Show airstrip, walking past a row of vendors, we've seen footage of that, outside the secure perimeter approximately a half mile away from the AGR grounds at 4:26 p.m. And second, video obtained from a local business showed the subject climb the roof of the AGR complex at approximately 6:05 p.m. And you remember after I think they did this, they got a lot of footage of the Oklahoma City bomber that day, Timothy McVeigh, from getting ATM cameras, right? You drive down the road, there's all these cameras pointed down. Apparently they saw him get on the building from one of these. Video from local businesses, police dash cam, and police body cameras confirmed the subject's movement across multiple AGR building roofs between 6:05 and 6:08 p.m. And finally, at 6:11 p.m., the subject fired 8 rounds before being neutralized. Our overall finding is the subject was only on the roof for approximately 6 minutes prior to the shooting between 6:05 and 6:11 p.m. He wraps it up saying, the FBI continues to work diligently to determine the subject's motive. We believe the subject engaged in detailed attack planning well in advance of the rally. We continue to pursue all investigative leads to determine any possible links to co-conspirators, saying the American people deserve answers, and the FBI stands committed to providing them. All right, so we'll see about that. Now, there were questions that took place, and there were photos that were dropped. You can see this is the photo of his backpack, which looks basically brand new. And this is the gun. And according to Clay Higgins' report, he thought that the gun may have been impacted by a local officer's round, and it might be. Does that look like that is maybe what was hit right there? The back part of this buttstock. That's the rifle. But over here, that does not look like it's blown off, does it? All right. Oh, I see, because it's closed. Yeah. So that's collapsed in. Would that be open? Does that look like that was cracked right there? That's busted, right? That's busted right there. All right. So they closed it up. You can see this is extended. Yeah, so this is it's extended out right there, and that's probably where that first round hit. The second round hit him in the head. So then they closed it up. So they collapsed that stock, and then they say that's how it was detached, thrown in the backpack. Backpack looks brand new, absolutely brand new, like literally brand new, and that's how it was broken down, likely for transport in the backpack. So yeah, it's a collapsible stock, Magpul collapsible stock. And the markings on the lower receiver are made by the FBI. So they actually added that right there. All right, so we see what happened. So it looks like Higgins was right. They actually did shoot him, and it hit him right, hit him in the stock, and then second shot killed him. Pretty amazing. So here's inside the back of his vehicle, and looks like, I don't know if that's an incendiary or something, but it looks like that might be like a bottle duct taped, some weird tape around it. These others look like IEDs. Maybe that's an ammo case. Looks like maybe 2 ammo cases that were being used there. And the rest of the trunk is pretty empty, right? Not a lot of stuff. A lot of people just have kind of odds and ends in there, like, cables or tethers or stuff. He has nothing. So interesting trunk. Now that's what they released for us. CNN says the pictures were released. The photos show the firearms collapsible stock, which may have been used to conceal the weapon. Searches show that he was involved in a bunch of different searches, and there were questions. FBI officials forcefully pushed back on conspiracy theories about the attack, stating, for instance, that there was no second shooter. Rojek told reporters, I can confirm that there was no second shooter. This is the air conditioning building, air conditioning that he apparently climbed on to get onto the building. So maybe hop here, hop over here. You grab some of these pipes, put your foot on that one window here, put another foot over here, or maybe over here actually might be easier to climb up on that. That's a little handhold, little foothold. Walking his way up. On the motive, Bobby Wells, executive assistant for FBI security branch, said investigators have, quote, a clear idea of mindset, but at this time, no motive, no co-conspirators yet, and no associates with any advanced knowledge. Says we've not seen any indication that Crooks was directed by a foreign entity. And when asked about past online posts that seemed to be political in nature, the FBI continued to, quote, to see through our analysis a mixture of ideologies, a mixture of ideologies. I would say we see no definitive ideology associated with our subject, either left-leaning or right-leaning. All right. So apparently they were on the call with Rojek, and that's what the report says. FBI telling us that their investigation is ongoing. We had 8 shots from crooks, 1 shooter. Everything was normal. The guy with the pressure washer up there, hosing off the brain matter, totally normal. FBI's looking out for the truth. Now, Josh Hawley says differently, said that there are whistleblowers saying that the Secret Service is trying to cover this up. In fact, the Secret Service was trying to prevent Trump from even having the resources he needed at the time.
You know government and how it works. Why would they say ahead of time, don't request this because we're not going to give it to you? Because they didn't want a paper trail?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think they wanted to be able to say what the director did say to Congress misleadingly, oh, we never technically, formally denied anything. Of course, that's because they told them in advance, don't request it, because if you do, we won't give it to you. This was an attempt to hold down the resources. This was an attempt to deny counter snipers. Remember, they only finally got counter snipers to come on the day, Jesse. Earlier, they had said no counter snipers would be available. Can you imagine what would have happened if there had been no counter snipers at all at this event?
I can't.
This is all an attempt to cover it up.
I don't want to imagine that. And weren't they supposed to get 4 counter sniper teams, but they only got 2?
That's right. And there was supposed to be what's called the counter surveillance division. They're present, Jesse. They're the ones who are usually due a site advance. They identify problems in the security perimeter. Whistleblowers tell me that they didn't get to do the advance because, again, Secret Service leadership denied it. We need the facts here because the more we learn, the worse this gets.
And it looks like the Secret Service is involved in a cover-up of their own failures. Byron Donald's making the same point, saying, time to get to the bottom of this.
It's a group of members who are going to be able to get to the bottom of this relatively quickly. The bigger issue is that, yes, the Secret Service under the Department of Homeland Security in the Biden-Harris administration, they have followed the same protocol of every other aspect of the Kamala Harris-Joe Biden administration, which is stonewalling. Nobody is held accountable. There are no answers to the crises that were created, the things that went wrong. And they basically just try to wait out the news cycle. Hopefully some other news breaks, and then they move on to the next subject. Yeah. And then there's no real changes, no real reforms. This task force is going to do this. But America, this is why you cannot have another 4 years of the Obama, Biden, Kamala Harris agenda. It is not working for the country, and our institutions are rotting as a result.
You do believe that the Secret Service is stonewalling right now on this subject?
I believe they've been stonewalling the public. They've been stonewalling the press, which is why it's unfortunate, but you got to have an independent body. And this is what the purpose of Congress is, to investigate the actions in the executive branch and bring real accountability.
Yeah, and the media has moved on. The Democrats have moved on. The politicians have moved on. And this was one of our big concerns after Comer and Raskin signed off on that little love note where they said, we are unified in creating our J13 task force. That's going to solve all of our problems. When really it just gave them cover to move this issue off the table. Oh, we're investigating it. Move on. Now they can focus on J.D. Vance and his comments about cats and stuff like that, which is clearly more important than a failing Secret Service that may have been complicit in an assassination. Byron Donalds is right. We got to get to the bottom of it. All right, now, speaking of corrupt entities and institutions, we have this interesting story that is now out. We're asking ourselves what this means. Nancy Pelosi is now leaking footage from the January 6th ordeal, and apparently it came via HBO. Wait until we look at this. The question that we have, of course, is why is this dropping right now? The footage was turned over to Congress by HBO, and it was obtained by CBS News. So it sounds like what happened is Pelosi had it delivered to HBO for this documentary. And then CBS got it once HBO gave it to Congress. So Pelosi gives it to HBO gives it to Congress, then CBS gets it from Congress. And it seems very convenient. And I guess they probably have a lot more of it and we're going to see what's inside. And we can't wait for them to drop it throughout the remainder of this election as they try to reinvigorate J6 fever. Now, the footage shows Pelosi preparing for a press conference with her staffers. She said, there's a domestic enemy in the White House. Let's not mince words about this. She did not use that line when addressing the press later that day. All right, let's watch some of it. So CBS has a few minutes of this, and here is what some of this says.
Video shot by HBO, turned over to Congress, and then obtained by CBS News. Some filmed as Pelosi was being evacuated from the Capitol.
Let's see some of this.
How many times did the members ask, are we prepared? Are we prepared? We're not. Prepared for the worst. We're calling the National Guard. Now, should have been here to start out.
Okay, this is very interesting. So first of all, I have a question. Does Nancy Pelosi normally walk around and talk like that when she's walking between meetings? She's just walking down the halls talking to people. It doesn't sound like anyone's listening to her. Like, who is she talking to when she's talking this? Okay, these look like they're security dudes. This woman's on a phone talking to someone else. This lady has a handful of documents, not listening to her. This lady's just walking them through with a local name badge. Like, she's not talking to anybody. Oh, yeah, she's talking to the camera. Oh, yeah, that's right, because this is a fake movie. And she knew it was going to happen. And so this is called acting, overacting. Chewing the scenery is a phrase that they talk about in Hollywood. Now, here's a question. How many times have the members asked, are we prepared? Are we prepared? We're not. Prepare for the worst. And then she asks about the National Guard. They're calling the National Guard now. They should have been here to start with. You know whose idea that was? You know who wanted the National Guard there? 10,000 of them, in fact. Donald Trump. He specifically put that in motion. And then Mayor Muriel Bowser, in a written letter that we've read on this channel, I don't know, a dozen times, literally, rejected it. And Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, if you remember, before January 6th, they said, don't you dare give Trump the ability to secure anything. No National Guard, because he'll steal the Capitol, right? If Trump was going to secure the Capitol building, then they said he was going to steal it. Then he didn't secure the Capitol building, according to them. They didn't secure the Capitol building, and they said Trump is going to steal it. So no matter what he was doing, he was damned. And I remember that. They don't know why we can't let him stand up. What Trump's going to bring in martial law? And so Muriel Bowser rejected this. Nancy Pelosi says they're calling the National Guard now. They should have been here to start with. That's Muriel Bowser's fault, not Trump's. Here, let's continue on as she talks to herself and the camera.
We're calling the National Guard. Now, should have been here to start out.
Who's she talking to?
Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
Because Mayor Muriel Bowser rejected them. That's why.
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
No, there's not a question of how they had. They don't know. They clearly didn't know.
She's drunk.
And I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more. Because
she takes responsibility. Yeah, because she was the Speaker of the House. That's right. And she could have secured it. In fact, Stephen Sund, the Capitol Hill chief of police at the time that she demanded resign, he was calling for help and wanted a lot more support than he was granted, but they didn't give it to him because they wanted it to happen.
Scott McFarland's here with us. Scott, good morning to you.
All right, so
Tony, it's quite something. Nancy Pelosi is heard talking about the prompt impeachment of Donald Trump and saying he must pay a price for January 6th. And at one point in the video, she's heard calling him a domestic enemy in the White House. And encouraging the invocation of the 25th Amendment to remove him.
Yeah, because
she's also heard blasting some of the Capitol security officials who'd be out of their jobs hours after the January 6th attack. But all of this puts in context what the House January 6th Select Committee found 2 years ago.
What?
That it was Trump who waited 3 hours before urging his supporters who were attacking police.
Oh, it was HSI agents, okay? And people like Ray Epps who got sweetheart deals, didn't even have to show up back to Washington, D.C. Ray Epps took a virtual plea deal to a misdemeanor. Hilarious. All right, so it's Trump's fault that he waited 3 hours to get out there and say, Feds, can you please stop this? It's all Trump's fault. Trump wanted the whole building secured. They allowed the building to be not secured. So we have more footage here. I think Politico had some other footage. Is this the same? Let's see here. It's a little bit longer footage. It shows previously unaired footage. HBO shared the videos with Congress in late August 2024. And so what else is out there? Okay, what other footage are they going to drop? When are they going to drop it? They're holding a bunch of stuff back for the October surprise. January 6th, they're going to try to reinvigorate this. Okay, they're going to drag Liz Cheney out probably, and Kinzinger, and they're going to go on a little crying tour about how America's on the precipice and so on. Let's watch this one. It says Politico obtained the footage and edited the 50 minutes for brevity. So okay, I wonder if can we just watch the whole video? Can they just post the full thing? Let's see. This footage is the most detailed glimpse yet of Pelosi. The daughter's filmmaker. Nancy Pelosi's daughter's a filmmaker, I guess.
We're not. Prepared for the worst. I just don't understand it. Why do we empower people this way by not being ready? If they stop this,
who's she talking to? She's talking to this gal? This woman's just showing her around. Okay, at least now she's on a phone. She huddled with congressional leaders at Fort McNair, waiting for authorities to quell the riot and secure the Capitol, which was done like 4 hours later.
I don't care what they say. They should have had much more anticipation about the National Guard.
Trump did that. You guys rejected it. And you can read your former Capitol Hill Chief of Police, Steven Sund's own book about this, that details all the conversations he had to actually secure the building, and he was rejected. It's your fault, Nancy. This whole thing happened.
Do you think we should do another statement? Is it Trump?
Pull your mask up.
So
pull it up.
Doing a video now.
Pull your mask up, Nancy. You're going to kill everyone in there.
The election was a fraud. We all know that, but you should go home.
He said that?
Yeah, that's what he basically said. So we shouldn't let him off the hook, Nancy. We issued a statement saying he's got to make a statement. He comes up with this BS.
Insurrection.
Oh, yeah.
That's a crime. And
Insurrection is she's plotting now. I know. Insurrection. Yeah.
I'm just letting it go. It's over. Joe Biden's president.
You're done with Donald Trump. How does it feel?
I just feel sick at what he did to the Capitol and to the country today. So he's got to pay a price for that.
He's got to pay a price for that. Okay, so they're going to release a whole documentary. So just to be clear, this is like a trailer, right, for a regular movie. So there'll be a whole documentary on this. Nancy Pelosi's daughter is going to come out. Attack on the Capitol. It'll come out. It's going to be featuring Nancy Pelosi and Liz Cheney and Kinzinger. It's going to have all this behind-the-scene footage. Just get ready for it. It's going to be, she's working for, what do they get, Oscars or something for their fakeness?
So I'm just going to start reading. Yesterday, the President of the United States incited an armed insurrection against America.
What arms?
And those who failed to prevent the assault on our Capitol must be held to account. That is why I'm calling for the resignation of Capitol Police Chief Steven Sund.
Oh, the guy that she blames Steven Sund, who was the guy screaming, "We need to secure this." Right? He was the one who was the scapegoat for this whole thing. And he wrote a book that I highly recommend.
Was a profound failure.
Wait a minute. Let me just say this. I think our focus has to be on the president. Let's not divert ourselves. We're going to have an after-action review.
So take away Stephen Sund.
I never liked Son. I think he should have been gone a long time ago. But
Whoa, what'd she say? I never liked Sund?
I think our focus has to be on the president. Let's not divert ourselves. We're going to have an after-action review. I've never liked Son. I think he should have been gone a long time ago.
Oh man, I wonder what Stephen Sund has to say about that. He's given some good interviews, and so that's curious. Stephen Sund. She never liked you. Wow. Which is why she blamed you for her own failures, because she wanted to make you the scapegoat. Wow. And so she's saying take him out of that right now.
Ma'am, the press is very focused on this. Schumer just now a political breaking news alert that Schumer is going to fire the Senate Sergeant at Arms.
I don't even know who that is. Yeah.
But it's immaterial. The heads are rolling is what we're saying.
Wow.
I don't want to have it on a par with the insurrection and the impeachment and the rest of that. If they ask, I will respond, but I'm not doing it on a par because it's a diversionary tactic.
Understood. So we can pull this card out. Henry's going to finish this card. We can pull it out for Q&A.
Okay. And then we can't say we will impeach him. We can say we'll call for it. We don't know because we don't have all the blue dogs with us on this subject.
Sure you.
So let's look at the words. Okay, what else you got?
Talking about impeachment.
We take an oath to protect our country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. There is a domestic enemy.
This is what they do in Congress.
And let's not mince words.
Oh. They sit around and they're talking about, right? Like it's like one person's doing the actual work here. Like they're like, do we have to sit around here and just hold your hand, Nancy Pelosi, as they're writing a speech? And the daughter is filming them for this documentary that will surely be coming out very, very soon. So that's the new J6 video. Apparently there was 50 minutes of it, and I'm sure will be more. It will continue to drop as the election marches nearer to November. We're going to have an October, I'm sure, Liz Cheney trailer, crying tears, somber music, Statue of Liberty just crying a tear because of Trump. Nancy Pelosi's leaking will continue, no doubt about it, and the videos will continue to emerge. We'll be here covering it all, my friends. Thank you so much for subscribing wherever it is you're watching this. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for inviting a friend or family member to come over and check our channel out, because we have a lot of fun here when we go live. We'd love to have you back and have them join us, and we'll see you back here on the next one. All right, my friends, now we covered 3 good stories today. The House Judiciary Committee and authentic campaigns going at it. A subpoena has been officially drafted and sent over from the Judiciary Committee to Authentic. We'll see how they respond to this and what Congress does if they don't get their documents. So that'll be fun. We also saw the FBI came out, gave us a nice little update on what happened in Butler. We read through the whole media report, the transcript that was part of the prepared remarks that he presented to the media. Got some questions answered, I think, a little bit. They're trying to explain why they pressure washed the whole building to get rid of the brain matter. And they explained why they allowed his body to be cremated within 9 days, 10 days, right as Congress was forming its task force and more. So that was a fun one. And then Pelosi leaks even more January 6th footage. It's going to continue to come out from now until the rest of the election, and we're going to be here covering it all. And so now, my friends, let us see what you have to say about this. It's been a beautiful stream. It's an amazing Wednesday. I hope your week is unfolding very beautifully, and you're accomplishing all the things you've set your mind to. You can see we've got some amazing donos, my friends. Thanks for sending these in. John McGarvey's clipping for us out there. Thank you, John. And look what this one says. This one came in from Milo Phone Bill, talking about Dollar Trees. Not really. It's a $1.25 tree. Sheila Poo, what's up? Sheila says, smash that like button as soon as you join the live stream. That's a great suggestion. As soon as you join. What's up? PL in the house. Welcome aboard. Thank you, PL. And hey, if you became a new member today, well, grab the members only morning stream from this morning. We do members only streams a bunch during the week, and on Saturdays. And we'd love to have you come join us, watchingthewatchers.locals.com or on YouTube to grab a membership and join us in the mornings for our amazing streams. Let's see. What else we got? We got Don Goff in the house. 6 months as a member, 2/3 of the way to a baby. What's up, Don? Says, Zuckerberg flipping because Trump is going to win? Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe he's just more concerned that maybe Biden is going to fail. And maybe he's being expected to donate another $400 million. I don't know. I mean, I'm happy he's not donating another $500 million to the Democrats, but I don't know that I'd read into that Trump is going to win. I think he's just a shrewd businessman. Like, if he really thinks Trump is going to win, he should dump in another $400 million towards Trump. Maybe that's too strong. But, maybe. What's up? John Libby says, in my opinion, Crooks was paid. They actually pre-placed a body double on the roof that actually got shot. Agents washed the red fluid away. Crooks is now in a faraway land. Probably hanging out with Epstein, right? Who's also not dead. Thank you, John Libby. What's up? Eric, 10 membos in the house. And welcome aboard, newest of membos. You know who you are. 10 new people got gifted membos, courtesy of Eric. And they're coming in hot. Eric, thanks for being a membo and bringing in 10 new membos. And Sheila Pooh, what's up, Sheila? Also bringing in 5 new membos. Welcome aboard, 5 new membos, courtesy of Sheila P. You know who she is. Membo inviter extraordinaire. Thank you, Sheila. Hey, NY says, since it's not a criminal subpoena, none of the standard rules of evidence and defenses to quash a subpoena are relevant. It's been litigated and it's clear. Mercan's daughter and company have no right to exclude this information. 2 Trump admin officials went to jail for contempt of Congress. There is no defense for not being responsive to the subpoena. From NY Renal says, if Mercan's daughter has no relationship to Harris or the DNC, she needs to say that under oath. She doesn't get to decide whether a conflict or relations are present. Any letter from her or her lawyer are just words. Says that lawyer, for authentic, can save his legal arguments for future defense at trial. Saying things are in their personal capacity is a new concept brought up in recent Senate confirmation hearings. When people make statements soliciting donations, they cannot claim it's in their personal capacity. It's either something that happened or it didn't. We got this one from Camus. What's up, Camus? Over on Rumble says, here's a fun fact. Jack Smith's wife, Katie Chevigny, is a filmmaker who produced a movie about former Lady Michelle Obama and donated to Biden's 2020 campaign. I think I've heard that. Yeah, I haven't looked into Jack Smith's wife, Katie. But do you know she is married to an illegitimate prosecutor, not even a real one. Hey, what's up, Sheila Pooh? 5 more membos coming in from Sheila. Thank you for that, Sheila. And new membos, thank you to Sheila for bringing us in. What's up? NY says, the guy answered and it's not an attorney. Reading it over and over, I smell an amateur. I don't think he was an attorney. He was just, I think, writing it as a founder. Contradicted himself several times and Congress called him out on that. Liberals tend to be overly confident. They should grill him in a public hearing. Let him spend some of that $2 million on lawyers. Sheila says, term limits and dissolve the bureaucratic deep state. That is how we will save our country and keep it safe. So yeah, something to smash, I think, the perpetual bureaucrats. Yeah, would be good. It's a good start, Sheila. What's up, Will Crump? Subpoena is worthless when the DOJ is behind all this. Well, yeah, the DOJ, they would need to prosecute, and they're not going to prosecute themselves. For example, Merrick Garland has a subpoena, and he's not going to prosecute himself for not showing up. What's up? Tony Hay Munkets is bringing in 10 membos, 2 bouts of 5 membos from Tony Hay Munkets, man. You guys rock, Tony Hay. Thanks for that. And welcome aboard, new membos. What's up? NY says Dems have a blind spot for this. They got off easy with the Clinton FBI collusion in 2016. There is evidence of an organized attempt to infiltrate organizations to sabotage campaigns. I hope Trump authorizes a prosecutor outside of the DOJ to investigate this. 5 more coming in from Sheila Pooh. What's up, Sheila? Man, Sheila, thank you for that. 5 more membos coming in. New membos, you know who you are. Welcome aboard. Art Pollard, what's up, Art? Says election night watch party at Trump Tower. That sounds like it'd be epic. You hosting that, Art? Sounds like a fun one. Trump Tower, which one? Trump Tower, which one? In Vegas again? We going back to Vegas, Art? What's up? James Marcel says FBI says it's not foreign. So that means it's domestic. Yeah, we were wondering where Liz Cheney was, right? Where was Liz Cheney on J13? No one's asking that question. We are. Tony Hay Munkets. 5 more membos coming in the house. Thank you, Tony Hay, for bringing 5 more membos in. Welcome aboard, new membos. Former says, after seeing additional pictures of Crooks, I have some questions. It appears that Crooks is presenting himself as effeminate. Was Crooks trans? That's a good question. How many current photos of Crooks have been collected? Did Crooks visit or search for any of those sites? Just looking for answers. So are we, Former. NY says, so the fact that the FBI has to analyze data from Crooks that is political is a complete problem. The FBI is politicized, will likely misinterpret the data. No motive to me means he was a typical rabid liberal. Oil Smoke Jones, what's up, Oil Smoke? Says all Democrats know they're protected from Congress by the DC District Court. That's why the first job of the 2025 Congress must be to dismantle the DC District Court. I think that's a great idea. A great idea. And there's precedent for this, okay? Congress sets the jurisdiction of the courts, so they can do that. And I think this was part of Newt Gingrich's strategy. Remember, he wanted to rein in the Ninth Circuit when they were being lunatics. So, yeah, DC should slowly be just decentralized. It's way too much power in one spot. NY says, oh, by the way, they update the FBI policies all the time. It's online. They just update it and they implement it. This came out in a hearing into the FBI and school board watch list this past year. Sheila Poo says that super sloped roof makes me surprised the guy with the power hose didn't slide right off. Well, he wasn't Secret Service, so they must have some better balancing skills at the FBI, though probably not much better. What's up, Sheila Poo? Thanks for bringing in 5 new membos and many more today. Thank you for those. What's up? This old guy says, so this FBI media call can be reduced to, we followed all policies and procedures in our investigation, and we really don't know anything beyond the subject found on the roof of the AGR building is dead. He had a gun within 10 feet of his body. We don't know why he attempted to shoot Trump and the others killed and wounded that day, or how he actually did it. We'll update you when and if anything new is turned up by our standard policies and procedures. It's basically the 1-minute update. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. We did everything right. Everything's fine. Stop making up conspiracies about our failures. That's it. This old guy. Andy Hansis, what's up? 16 months as a membo, says open and transparent. Yeah, just like JFK was, right? Which we still don't have answers on 50 years later. What's up? NY says, Bongino said it at the hearing. The guy who was making decisions to give Joe Biden 4 times the assets as Trump and in the same theater got a promotion to the Secret Service head. No firing, no questions from the Biden administration. This one from Knox Bierman. What's up, Knox? Says, happy Wednesday, all. Funny how they moved on instead of making J13 all about assault weapons. Yeah, that's true, too. No weapons of war in this one, like banned guns, all that. So no one's talking about that. To discuss that would be to keep the Trump assassination attempt in the news. Yeah. They don't want to talk about it. They just move on. We've created a committee. Everything's great. Hey, this is a nice shout out from Knox. Says, this is for Arizona people. So Trump Force 47 is an effort. So if you're in Arizona, apparently Rep. Paul Gosar from Arizona is going to be hosting a training. You can register for that. It looks like at Trump47.com, which is just awesome. What's up, MAGA Pound Cake? Says, hey, Rob, can you tell me the type of lawyer I need to get for police beating my nephew? And can you direct me on how to get their bar license number? I need that info before I can make a complaint to the ACLU if can. Thank you. So, yeah, it depends what jurisdiction you're in and what happened. But basically, you're going to be looking for someone who's it's going to be a tough find, right? someone who will file a notice of claim against your government on your behalf. I don't know a lot of lawyers that do this work naturally because it's expensive and the ability to recover can be low and it's a lot of out-of-pocket costs. So I don't have a good referral offhand, but if you have a state, that might make it easier. But you're looking for, it's basically an injury attorney who will file claims against a federal government. So, civil rights types of claims and stuff like that. They're hard to find lawyers who want to take them because they're just not that profitable. They're hard to win on. And it depends on how bad the beating was. Like, I hate to be so morbid about it, but like, what kind of beating was it? Like, this is the real truth. You want the real truth? How bad was your nephew beaten? Like, how badly? Like, it was very, very badly, like he's going to lose a limb or something like that. Then the amount of recovery might be high. If it's just, he got bumped up while he was arrested or something like that. He's got some scrapes and bruises and his head got popped or something like that. I don't think you're going to find a lawyer who's going to want to take it. So make your assessment on that, right? And that's the thing that happens is lawyers who take this type of work, they get a lot of calls from people who think that they were dramatically injured, and they were injured and the cops abused them for sure, but it's just the damages are not enough to make the recovery interesting for the lawyers, right? The lawyer's going to take a portion of the settlement. And so if it wasn't like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages, then you got to come out of pocket to hire the lawyer to file all the motions to get a recovery, which is why these claims aren't very well received by a lot of attorneys. Now, again, if you have like a serious injury and you find the right lawyers, you can mix and match them and find them out. But I'm sorry that happened to your nephew. And I hope he's okay. And I hope the situation gets rectified. But send me an email if you need a referral. MAGA pound cake. Send me an email to robert@spotlightlawyer.com. Send me the name of the state that you're in. And then if there's any other lawyers out there that absolutely take these claims, send me an email and we can make a connection out there. But I know when I was practicing criminal defense law that we used to get stuff like this. People would call all the time. I want to sue the government. What happened? Well, I got arrested. What happened? Well, I hurt my knee. Well, I got arrested. Well, were you fighting back with the cop? Yeah. All right. Well, then they're going to look at that and they're just going to say that you were resisting arrest, right? And they got qualified immunity. It's really hard to recover on those claims. Now, that's not, also to be fair on this, when Sheriff Joe Arpaio was here, they settled like $20 million a year in claims, something like that. So there are lawyers that will file these claims and they're very successful on it. But it's a specialized kind of an area, and it's got to be a real serious, more likely than not, a real serious injury with some real serious wrongdoing. So anyways, thank you for that, MAGA pound cake. Whoa, DJ. Look at the size of this dono, baby. Says, Robert, I have a question for you. Have the FBI did you mean to do that? Was this a typo? Have the FBI taken any fingerprints off the casings that they recovered to make sure that crooks were on and no one else is on the casings? Yeah, that's an interesting question, DJ. And as you saw on the report from earlier today, they actually talked about I don't know if you saw this or not, but they definitely talked about it, about the casings, right? Interviews. Here, let's do a Control F. And is it in here? What did they type? Bullet. I thought they said casings, shell. There it is. They also positively matched all 8 shell casings located on the roof with the subject's rifle. All right, so nothing about fingerprints in there, but the bullets match the rifle. So I know what you're saying, right? It's like we've seen it in movies even, right? I think that we've seen movies. There was that one movie, it's hitting my brain right now, where it's a thumbprint, right? He puts a thumbprint on the bullet, they take the bullet out, and then they match the thumbprint or something like that. I've not seen any evidence thus far that they've done anything like that currently. This is about it. And in fact, we've also had questions about the number of gunshots. So we were thinking it was originally 9, which was 1, 2, 3. Then we from crooks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 1, 2, 3. It zings Trump. Then pop, 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 pop. Then we heard 9, which would be the sniper kill shot from the Secret Service, but we also heard that there was 10 from Clay Higgins because the other local cop shot first, hit the stock of the gun, blew that apart, then the other one was a headshot kill. So if it is 8, they say it came from the gun, but that's all we've got. I don't know anything about fingerprints on the shell casings. But DJ, honestly, brother, thank you for the very nice dono. Extremely generous. Very grateful for that. I don't even know what else to say. It's a huge monster dono. Thanks for contributing to our work here. Very grateful for you, DJ. Very generous. Thanks for being a membo. Thanks for sending that in on Rumble. Very appreciative. It's a nice one. DJ in the house. Thank you, DJ. What's up? One old guy's opinions says luscious Nancy P. cold gin rant for an HBO Live mini documentary. What a hell, luscious Nancy and all Democrats are truly narcissists. That's true. It's a great comment from one old guy's opinions. A good opinion. Marcia Asherez. What's up, Marcia? Good to see you, Marcia. Says, search everything wrong with the Capitol in 889 angles. In 889 angles. It sounds like an interesting article, whatever that will pop up. NY says, Pelosi on camera is just creating the narrative before the investigation. This tape is exculpatory for Trump. Sheila Poo says she's running for re-election, isn't she? She needs to be indicted. That is collusion against a sitting president. From Nancy. Yeah, I'm sure she is. I think she's running for representative again. She needs to, man. She needs all that insider info to trade her stocks. You know, she made $4 million today in stocks. Whew. I don't know how she gets everything so right all the time. Beth Coddington, what's going on? Says Beth Coddington, what's up? Farmer's daughter. Hey, Sweetums and all. Good to see you, Beth. Says, I heard from reliable sources that performers from Cirque du Soleil were hired. Oh, for the dangerously slanted roof cleanup. Love you. Love you back. Farmer's daughter, Beth Coddington in the house. That makes sense. That's why they could stand on there to clean off the brain matter off the roof. Because they were professionals from Las Vegas. Hey, what's up, Marcia Ashirez says, search everything wrong with the Capitol riots in 889 angles by Woo's News for the truth of January 6th. Man, another good recommendation. That sounds like it could be a really good one. Very good to see you, Marcia. Thanks for those recommendations. We got a new baby in the house. One new baby. Welcome aboard. Van Songs with a brand new one. Says out loud admissions basically and nothing happens. Yeah, from Pelosi and the rest of them. They have total power and they're using it and abusing it. Thanks for being with us for 9 full months, full term. Great to have you here, Van Songs, for 9 months. What's up? Geegum is in the house with Captain America, Garrett Ziegler. Says Garrett Ziegler speaks next month, Monday, September 23rd at 6 p.m. in Malacca as part of Marco Polo's 50-state tour. Marco Polo coming to a state near you, so make sure you're following them. And Captain America, Garrett Ziegler, author of the report on the Biden laptop. Seen right there. Great periodical. Hey, what's up? This one came in from Tobo. Yeah, this was some news today. So Biden had a loss at the Supreme Court, although this one is not that one. Oh, wait, this is that one, I think. Yeah, this is that one. Thank you, Tobo. I think this was about Biden student loans, right? Totally unconstitutional as they were from the beginning. Thank you, Tobo. Patriot Rob is here. Says that video could be incriminating for any Pelosi. She better think about what she said because I think she was a little too drunk to remember anything. Yeah, well, she's admitting that it wasn't secure. We know Trump tried to secure it, literally. John McGarvey says, did you see the grand jury information? What's this one from? No, I have not seen this one. What is this one from? Looks like via electronic mail, request for records under the Pennsylvania right to know law. No, not familiar with this, John, but thanks for flagging it for us. Cliff Norman says, recall how the Jack Smith tool was overturned after destroying the campaign of Republican governor of Virginia 8-0. We do remember that. Thanks for the reminder, Cliff, and the link to Town Hall. Spud says, did a wave of vanity by her daughter's, quote, production, did Nancy Pelosi implicate herself and produce a damaging confession? I think she did. V is never silent says, watchers are so smart, baby. Watchers are so smart. What's up? Good to see you, V is never silent. NY Renal says, for MAGA Pound Cake, the civil rights lawyer on YouTube, the civil rights lawyer. He's won multiple cases and chronicles them on his channel. Yeah, that's a great channel too, and a good recommendation as well. He does great work. I love his work. Very smart guy. Yeah, that's a good thought. Thanks for that one. We got Don G. He might have a good referral too. Don G, what's up? Welcome aboard as our newest supporter. So nice to have you. We got Patriot Rob says, you notice someone broke into the Obama house. Granted, he wasn't there. Nothing was done, apparently. The Bidens don't care about anybody but the Bidens. The whole country has basically gone to crap. Gone to crap. What's up? One Old Guy's Opinions says the movie is Jack Reacher. The print came off a quarter at the parking meter. Based on a Jack Reacher book, one shot. Oh, that's cool. Jack, oh yeah, that's a movie or a series? Jack Reacher's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Hey, Essential Bites Membo for 6 months says that recommendation watch is great. That recommendation watch is great. 6 months as a membo. Talking about Jack Reacher? Is that the one? Here's one from Stan says, strange, there was no mention of the damaged stock in the FBI press release. It is interesting how they didn't comment on that, right? We got that from Clay Higgins, who says that local cops actually made the first shot. Kind of embarrassing that the local cops beat the Secret Service snipers to the punch on that, but they did. Hey, Zulu's here. Says the people would like a hot Kamala gif, please. A hot Kamala gif. I was good. Where am I going to find one of those? Do you think I'd find one of those when she was dating Willie Brown or having an affair with him? Or maybe when she was dating Montel Williams? Or was it hot when she was incarcerating black defendants for marijuana violations? Which one's hot? I don't know. We'll have to find one. Hot because she was burning the Constitution when she was covering up exonerative DNA evidence, like that kind of hot? What kind of hot are we talking about? Hot like our wide open border? People cooking in truck trailers as they're coming across the border? Zulu says circa 2008. All right, we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Thanks, Zulu. We could come up with some Kamala ones. Add a little agitation to the chat. Add a little agitation to the chat. I don't know what this image is. I don't know what that is. All right, what's up? Thank you for that one. Ricky Stanicky. What's up, Ricky Stanicky? Says Zuckerberg was offered a deal. All right, fess up or be charged with election interference. I don't know by who. I mean, who would charge him? The current DOJ? The DOJ wouldn't want him to confess that the DOJ is corrupt, essentially, or that the Biden administration is corrupt. But, all right, fess up or be charged with election interference. I don't know. Maybe he's reading the writing on the wall that the country is pretty sick of all of this, and he doesn't want to be caught in the crosshairs again of a contested election. Got a lot of backlash. He's like, look what happened when I rigged this last time. I don't want to be responsible for rigging it again. So we're happy that he's staying out of it, at least. Should be donating $400 million to Trump, but if he stays out of it, I guess that's good enough. All right, let's say what's up to some friends on X. Then we're going over to locals for our members only after party. And if you're a YouTube member and you want to stick around, catch some extra content, at our members only after party, join us on Telegram. That's where you can find the after party. When you go on YouTube, you click over to the community tab section. There's a Telegram link, members only. We'll see you inside. What's up? Barb Schaefer says, why fight the subpoena if there's nothing there? Sounds like a guilty conscience. If he refuses to comply, Doesn't that mean jail time? Well, we'll see what Congress does. Yeah, they'll say you didn't comply with the subpoena, just like Steve Bannon. Next stop, prison. What's up, Barb? Good to see you. Angie says Authentic isn't the name of the current company now. They actually changed the name. That's interesting. Maynard says Nancy's daughter also admitted it was a setup in this video, explaining how Democrats are going to use lawfare to prosecute Trump. Brenda says that they're setting up a GoFundMe. Authentic as it might be setting up a GoFundMe. I haven't confirmed that, but that's what someone says. Also, we've got the D-Man over there. D. Wondern is in the house. What's up, the D-Man? John R. Ruthless Sleep and Sheep says if Congress is furious, why don't they actually do something about it? Well, they did actually send a subpoena out today, so that's good news. What's up, James Pepper says the images show us when the film was made. There are records for them, so we can tell when the film was made within a few months by watching the film and seeing what else is happening around there, the context of the film. Yeah, good stuff. Good points, no doubt about it. And so, what's up? Shout out to our friends on X. Nice to see everybody over there. One Old Guy's Opinions says, Comrade Harris, the hoe phase never ended. The how phase never ended. The how phase. One Old Guy's confirming that it's hoe phase for us. Confirming that. It's the hoe phase. As you can see. Yeah, it's Kamala. It's definitely Kamala. She's one of a kind. Londo says the only way to end Biden's illegal student loan giveaways is for SCOTUS to command Biden to reimburse the federal government for all misappropriated funds. Go get that money back. And what's up, Nathan? Nathan C. in the house. Welcome aboard, Nathan. Glad to have you as a membo. Thanks for joining us on the membo stream. We'll see you tomorrow. All membos, we're back here in the morning. We do a stream early before we come live here, and we'd love to see you over there in the morning. So you can join on YouTube. You can join on Locals. Anywhere, we're happy to see you. After party for YouTube friends is on Telegram because of the way the technology works. So we'll see you over there. But my friends, that is going to be it for us on the day. We covered some good stuff today. We are going to come back tomorrow to hit it again. We want to thank our amazing mods and meme smiths who mod the fort down for us and keep things nice and orderly. We got K Bean, Just Cause, Playing Hooky, Ronnie Cole, Zach Nichols, Janek, Dog Digger, Economy Pilot, Donut Mind Me, Carrie B, and our friend Zulu, all in the house, modding the fort down for us, keeping things nice and orderly. We had a couple comments come in as we wrap it up. Former says, that SWAT sniper response guy is my hero, standing, offhand, and no rest. He's the man. And Zone Girl says, I really don't believe it was a Fedsurrection. Pelosi just happened to have a camera crew following her around. Kamala, the president of the Senate, was a no-show. Regular Capitol Police were given the day off. They were short-staffed. Selected to be one of the worst Capitol Police to lead the day for the day. He was so scared that he killed an unarmed woman. Couldn't even find the bomb. Yes, definitely not a Fedsurrection from Zone Girl. And definitely no sarcasm in that post either. Thank you, Zone Girl. Good stuff. All right, so my friends, we're heading on over to Locals, YouTube membos. We'll see you on Telegram if you care to join. Otherwise, we are going to be back here tomorrow to get into all this again. And in order to do that, we're going to need to see you right back here so that together, with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. And MAGA Pound Cake says, thanks, Rob. I'll be sending you an email. We're in Oahu, Hawaii. Lost some teeth, broken nose, back injury, concussion. That's pretty bad. Yeah, that's pretty bad. All right, send me an email. Hawaii defense attorneys, if you're out there, send me an email too. All right, much love, my friends. Make it a great night. Sleep very well. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.